Hello, morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you all doing well, and welcome to day two of the Amazon Q Advantage. So yesterday was very interesting. Yesterday we had markets from Ingram Micro. We had we had Prankis from Ingram Micro talk about generative AI in general and how it has really helped businesses today. And we also had Lucky as well give us a really in-depth view on Amazon Q. Amazon Q was released, I think, in reInvent last year. It was announced in reInvent last year, and ever since then, we have seen tremendous success in terms of organizations that have been able to adopt Amazon Q. We've seen use cases from organizations like BMW and name them. I mean, basically, what Amazon Q has been able to help organizations do is to help them improve their business operations, improve efficiency in their business operations. And I was having a chat with Lucky also on the event, also on the webinar yesterday, on how 15, 20, 30 years ago, if you could tell the business, if you could tell the business and enterprise that they could improve their business operations efficiency by 10%, believe me, they would have jumped on that solution. And now we're looking at the 30% operations improvement in efficiency, and that's due to the success level that solutions like Amazon Q have been able to bring. Amazon Q, as Loki presented yesterday, um, handles handles about four major use cases. Right, it handles analyzing of your data, where you are able to really have a chat with your data. I see that use case. I see the use case of financial analysts, right, where you can have a literal Gen AI assistant helping you analyze your financial data. I mean, it goes a long way to be able to chat with your financial data and to help make sense with it as well. So today we will be delving into Amazon Q Developer, right? So Amazon Q Developer is targeted at development of code. Lucky is going to give us a bit more insight as to what the advantages of Amazon Q Developer um, brings to your organization. For me, one of the major advantages I tend to get fond of with Amazon Q Developer is the compliance. Right, we see organizations spend so much and have to use various tools here and there to ensure that their developers are compliant in their coding techniques and mechanisms, and also to update your code and all of that's really interesting stuff. And Lucky is going to share a bit more on Amazon Q Developer, how the kind of advantage it gives to your organization, gives to your technical team, gives to those who do the technical business decision makers as well. So before we bring Lucky up, we also want to implore you to register using the registration link um, that's going to be on the chat really soon. So why you want to do this is to be able to have access to all of the post recordings, um, all of the workshop links, workshop recordings, workshop resources as well. Because we're not just doing this just to tell you how cool Amazon Q is, right? We want you to get started with Amazon Q, and these resources are going to help you get started with Amazon Q, so that your organization, your enterprise as well, can gain full advantage from the advantages and value prop that Amazon Q brings onto you. So I think it's time we can bring Lucky up. Lucky, how you doing? Hi, Lucky. How you doing?
Hey, hey David. I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Nice to have you here again.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So please, Lucky, over to you. Let me let you do your thing. And so I'm sure we'll have a lot of more questions today since we'll be doing demos as well.
Yeah, sure. Cool. And again, thank you so much, David, and thank you so much to Cloudplexo and Ingram for organizing this webinar. And thank you all for making your time again today. And today we're gonna do a dive deep with Amazon Q developer. So very quickly, let me share my screen. Cool. I hope you all can see my screen now. Let me go in a full screen mode. Awesome. Cool. Great. So, again, thank you all once again for joining today for this session. Yesterday, we discussed around Amazon Q business specifically and did a dive deep around that. And today, we're going to focus on Amazon Q developer, which really covers one of the most important use case of GenAI, which is productivity. So with Amazon Q developers, businesses can improve the productivity of their development team. Not only the developers, but the others technical stakeholders can also leverage Amazon Q developer and enhance the overall productivity of the business. My name is Lucky Sharma, and I'm working as a senior partner SA at AWS. I'm based out of London, and today we're gonna go and see the different capabilities and features of Amazon Q Developer. To start with, I'm just trying to set the right expectation. We'll start with a high-level understanding of GenAI and AWS. We did this yesterday, but today we're gonna do a very quick recap of that. Then we'll dive deep with Amazon Q as a service. And then specifically, we will see the various features and capabilities of Amazon Q developer. Also, today we're going to do like certain demos. So we're going to do a demo of how we can enhance the features of any specific application with Amazon Q developer. Also, we will see how we can do like any sort of code refactoring or transformation with Amazon Q developer. And then we will do a very high level walkthrough of the top use cases of Amazon Q. We will go through with couple of customer stories, and as usual, we'll end with few call to actions. Awesome. To start with, uh, like we already discussed about this GenAI stack yesterday. Here at Amazon, we like to think these fundamentals of GenAI as a three-layered stack that supports our customers' unique use case need wherever they are in their GenAI journey. To start with the bottom layer, uh, that's the most comprehensive set of tool and infrastructure for the customer to quickly and cost effectively build and train LLMs and other FMs and run inference at scale. Coming to the middle layer, the easiest way for the customer to build, scale GenAI application with various open source and proprietary LLMs and other FMs. And when it comes to top layer, that empowering everyone to use GenAI with application that leverages LLMs and other FMs. And that's where we have Amazon Q with multiple options over there. So if I look into the queue at the high level, the millions of people are using GenAI chat applications nowadays. And what early providers have done in this space is exciting and useful for consumers. However, these offerings are limited in how much they can help people at work because they possess only journal and generic sort of knowledge over there. They don't know customers' specific businesses, their data, customers, or operations as well. And they weren't designed to meet the right kind of data privacy and security requirements for the businesses. And this is why we built Amazon Q, AWS GenAI powered assistant that helps write code, answer questions, summarize data, generate content, and also solve problems. It can also manage AWS resources and further take the required actions over there. Amazon Q is built with security and privacy in the mind from the start itself, making it easier for the organization to use GenAI in a very safe environment. Uh, it is customizable to your business to provide superior assistance. With Amazon Q, it understands and respects the existing identities, roles, and permissions. If a user doesn't have the permission to access certain data without Amazon Q, they can't access it using the Amazon Q either. Plus, it is built with security and privacy in mind to meet the most stringent enterprise needs. Administrative controls helps apply guardrails to customize and control responses. Also, built from the ground up with privacy and security at the forefront. Uh, it links to your customer information repositories, codes, and system. So it can have tailored conversation and give you like more meaningful and relevant responses. It can solve the problems in a faster way using your contextual information and can take the actions that are relevant for your business. Amazon Q has multiple areas like we discussed yesterday. Uh, so we can use, if we focus on the business side of the things, Amazon Q provides capability for every employees with Amazon Q business plan. You can connect to your customer data and give you relevant responses over there. Amazon Q capabilities for developer and IT professionals are available through Amazon Q Builder Plan to help write, debug, test, and transform your code, such as moving from an old version of Java to a new one. We also offer Amazon Q in QuickSight to help customers quickly derive data insights using natural languages, as well as Amazon Q in Connect to remove heavy lifting from customer support engagements. Like all other AWS services, Q was designed with security and privacy. And that's why we say security is job zero for us at AWS. So let's move on to like the specifics of Amazon Q Developer. This slides really excites me because this slides actually demystifies a lot of things when it comes to developer productivity. So increasing developer productivity is a prominent theme, right? When we talk about generative AI in the developer experience. But increasing developer productivity is much more than just getting developer to write code faster. And according to a recent study that shows developers are spending less than 1 hour per day writing code. For example, when you encounter an error in an application, there is a lot of work involved in fixing it. You have to analyze and digest metrics to understand the issue. Then you need to figure out a solution, write configuration changes, and deploy the fix into production. This can eat up hours or days of your precious time. We want to flip this equation and give time back to developers to enable creativity and innovation with Amazon Q. If you look into this slide covers all the different phases of SDLC, that is software development lifecycle. The traditional software development lifecycle needs to be improved. as it currently requires developer to manually write thousands of lines of code, spends significant time debugging. This process hampers productivity as developers get bogged down in repetitive tasks like configuring infrastructure, refactoring code. The cycle is slow and error prone as developer cannot build the complex application they envision. To meet today's business demand, the software development process desperately need an overhaul, focus on automation and intelligence. And that's where generative AI plays a great role. Generative AI initially started helping developer in the development stage with coding companion and inline completion. But many of the tasks taking up developer times lie in the other stage of the life cycle. And that's where while developing Q, we are analyzing and we have put a dive deep around the other phases and try to understand the right opportunities in terms of automating and in terms of giving the right support to the developers. So with Amazon Q Developer, it supports all of your development tasks, not only the coding generation, right? So it's not just a coding companion. The task and the features that includes within the Amazon Q Developer includes building on AWS solutions. It helps developers and IT professional to be more efficient, knowledgeable, and proficient by integrating seamlessly into the app development lifecycle, from writing code or performing advanced upgrades in the IDE via Q developer, to chatting about the architectural best practices in the AWS console itself. With Q, we are taking a more end-to-end approach by solving problem across the development life cycle, not only just focusing on one of the phase over there. So now if you see this updated SDLC, here are some of the ways that Amazon Q supports developer across software development lifecycle. And we will take these in more detail in coming slides. In the plan stage, we can use Amazon Q in the AWS console to ask questions, get best practices, and recommendations back for our customers and for our solutions. In the IDE, you can use Amazon Q in any of the IDE, something like you can use Amazon Q in VS Code or the other IDs as well, which you are already using right now. So in the IDE, Amazon Q can help you understand your code base and get up to the speed on project. You can also create a business specific chat application using your internal resources through Amazon Q Business and then map it with your software development lifecycle back. In the create stage, Amazon Q is there for you to improve development productivity through inline coding suggestions, using natural language to generate new features, and you can ask Amazon Q right questions in the IDE. Amazon Q also helps developer to ensure their code is working and secure through unit testing assistance and help find and fix security vulnerabilities earlier in the development lifecycle. Also, Amazon Q can help troubleshooting errors, analyzing your VPC reachability, and give better debug and optimization tips. Finally, Amazon Q code transformation feature, which helps maintain and modernize code by upgrading project to the more up-to-date language versions, such as you can upgrade your lower version of Java to Java 17 and other such patterns. This gives me like a really great perspective, right, about Amazon Q. Like it is really easy to use and it is available wherever you do your work, right? So with Q, is transforming, right, the way people are working at this moment, and it's available wherever you work, such as in AWS service consoles, popular IDs such as CodeVS or JetBrains suits and others. Also, you can use it within the QuickSight, uh, AWS console. You can use it through like documentation pages, Slack, or any other chat applications, and easily fits within your existing workflow as well. Cool. So this is like a really high level, I would say, demo of how you can interact directly with Amazon Q within your console itself. So if you get into the AWS console from your right hand side, you can access the logo of Amazon Q. You just have to click and you can ask any question. And it is actually harvested the 17-year of AWS knowledge and best practices within the Amazon Q that you can access without any sort of setup or without any sort of configuration required. You can simply get into the console, talk with Q, you can plan your project, you can ask for any sort of best practices over there. So let's think from the planning perspective. Okay, so let's start with the planning phase that we just discussed in the SDLC. So today AWS offers over 220 fully feature service to build virtually anything you can dream of on AWS. So when you are starting a new project, there is a certain amount of research involved. There are trade-offs between the service, right? You have to first understand your use case and then pick the right solution patterns over there. And picking the right tools often takes a lot of time. Though you may search internet or use publicly available AI tools, they can offer unreliable guidance as they lack AWS context about your application or environment, and they are not integrated into your workflow at all. This requires you to switch between things and lose the focus. Now, if you can just go with Amazon Q chat capabilities within this console, you can simply go and ask the right questions. You can talk about the unfamiliar technologies, get the right architecture solutions, and also you can get the details around how can you make your solution more aligned with well architected principles, guidance, best practices, and eventually you can create the right solution for your business. Unlike previously, when you started with a new project on AWS, you often had to know which AWS service to use, and your research focus on how to best work with those service. With Amazon Q, we change this entirely. As you start building, you can ask Q about how to use the recommended service. The developers and IT professional and the other users can ask Amazon Q to explore new AWS capabilities. Something like you can go and ask what is agents for Amazon Bedrock, and Q will give you the right solution patterns and the details about the agents for Amazon Bedrock. And it will also help you with the right sort of use cases that you can implement with the agent for Amazon Bedrock. Cool. So let's move with the create phase. So once we have completed the planning using the Amazon queue, the next important phase is create, right? How we can gonna generate the code, explain the code, understanding the code base, and finally customizing to your code. With Amazon Q and specifically around generative AI, for developer originally started actually here in this create stage with inline coding suggestions, We also have Amazon Code Whisperer, formerly. Now we have Amazon Q Developer, which is a kind of new version of Amazon Q Whisperer, which has got merged within the Q Developer itself. But it didn't stop there, right? So now you can chat with Amazon Q in your ID instead of spending hours to exploring your old codes. You can simply ask Q, right, in your chat panel about your code and your architecture, and receive a summary explanation of your project, which saves a lot of your time. With the feature development capability of Amazon Q, you can go from a natural language prompt to application feature in a fraction of time. You can access interactive step-by-step instructions by Q within the IDE itself, which follows the best practices and also provides you with the required code and the right testing mechanism over there. Q understands your workspace structure and breaks down your prompt into the logical implementation steps, which can include generating code, tests, API integrations, and other steps that needs to be done. You can collaborate with Amazon Q to review and iterate on the implementation, and when ready, you can ask Amazon Q to help implement each step. Also, you can customize Amazon Q to reference internal repository to make code suggestions more relevant to your organizations. Also, you can point Amazon Q to your internal code repository where Q will learn and understand your code structure, your naming conventions, and the other standards that you are following at your organization. Moving to the next stage, which is again how you can do like more customizations, recommendations within the create stage itself. So let's look at how Q developer can help you ship faster by taking advantage of your internal code base. So we just talk about how it learns and understands. So you can customize Amazon Q developer to generate even more relevant inline code recommendations and chat responses by making it aware of your internal libraries, APIs, best practices, and architectural patterns. This significantly accelerating the whole development life cycle for any business. Getting used to a new code base can take months of digging through the codes, finding the documentation, and becoming familiar with coding standards. But with Q Developer, now we can speed up the onboarding by answering few important questions about your code base or suggesting the relevant internal libraries, APIs, and other resources. This minimizing the trials and error as well. So we can leverage Q Developer, right? Chat in the IDE to ask the right questions about how your internal code base is structured, and then get the right suggestions out of it over there. Within the create phase itself, there is another, I would say, great capabilities of Q, which is developer agents for the software development, which could automate and orchestrate a lot of different activities that we need to do while developing any software application. So with Amazon Q feature development capabilities, you can go from natural language prompt to application features in minutes. When you ask Q developer to implement an application feature from your IDE, it will look through your workspace codes and structure and break down your prompt into the logical atomic implementation steps, which can include writing codes, updating codes across multiple files, writing tests, integrating APIs, migrating your database schemas, and others. You can collaborate Q to review and then iterate and then implement it in a more better way over there. Moving on to test and secure phase. So with testing phase of SDLC, it could be a very tedious and a time consuming job, right, for most of the developers, because you really have to make sure that your project is production ready, and then only you will be able to move it for your prod life. Uh, we have to go with unit test, which finds multiple scenarios to test code against. You can ask Q to generate unit tests for you, and it will understand the code and provide the appropriate test coverage, so that you can then add to your application with just a click. This stage is also to ensure that safe code gets shipped. Amazon Q can scan for hard to find security vulnerabilities. But when we released this to Amazon developers, we found that developers would receive these security vulnerabilities and then create a ticket, right, for someone to go and fix it. That's how the traditional things works. So we took it one step further here, right, and enabled Q to come up with a recommendation for how to fix these security vulnerabilities, and with a click of button, go and automatically remediate them. So this really improves and enhance the whole development experience for the developers and for the other team members over there. The next stage of your SDLC is operate, which again comes with so many challenges and I would say one of the really time-consuming things that we have to do in your operate stage, and that's why Q can also help you to diagnose and troubleshoot errors. As we are working in the console, if we encountered an error such as, let's say, an EC2 permission error or S3 configuration error, you can simply press the troubleshoot with Q button over there, if you can see over there, and Q will use its understanding of your workload to diagnose the error and provide personalized step-by-step guidance to solve it, helping you to get back into the production faster. And this eventually saves a lot of time and allows to focus on the high value task for the developers. But there is still more opportunity to offload more of your undifferentiated work, right? And that's where Q offers you personalized guidance, troubleshooting, and optimizations for your applications. You can go and ask different troubleshooting related questions with Q, something like, why can't I get connect to my EC2 using SSH? Or maybe you can say like, why this particular VPC or endpoint is not reachable. And Q can use different capabilities, something like VPC reachability analyzer to check your network connections. It does all the inspections. It do the troubleshooting in a very step-by-step manner, and then provides you with the right set of guidance over there. Cool. This is the another, I would say, great capability of the queue. Like you can simply go to the queue and you can check out, like you can list, right, and describe all the different resources that you have in your account, so that you do have a good accountability, and you should be able to track and monitor all the resources that you have in your account. This really gives you uh, a great insights from the billing perspective, so that you don't have any surprises, and you should be able to have a better control across all the resources that you have in your account. So this is a really great capabilities. Probably we can use like the API of this particular capability and solve many different problems for the business from the FinOps perspective as well. Cool. I love this slide, and I don't say this for most of the slides, but I love this queue feature because being an migration and modernization essay for a long time, I know the pain, right, of migrating and modernizing traditional application over the cloud. It sounds really cool in the beginning, but as we get into this job, it takes a lot of time to do the right level of discovery, do the correct get the right CMDB for your infra and application inventories, and do all the kind of assessment over there in terms of establishing the relation between the various application. We call it something like application to application mapping, and then application to infrastructure mapping, and analyzing all the upstream downstream, getting into the code base, and then understanding the right roadmap in terms of doing the modernization, which is a really really big pain, and it is a lot of task for any modernization team. And that's where with Amazon Q transformation capabilities, you can expedite this whole process. So with Amazon Q transformation capabilities, you can upgrade and transform application in a friction of time. It just take few inputs. You really have to go and provide the source repositories. You have to define like how you want to modernize it, and you have to provide like a target destination, and it does the rest. It do that parsing, it converts your codes, it does that upgradations, give you a log so that you can go and see what all different actions has been taken over there. And finally, you can go and commit the upgraded code, and understand like how that has been done over there. And right now within the queue, you can perform Java language upgrades from Java 8 to Java 17. uh, and soon Q will be able to perform .NET framework to cross-platform .NET upgrades, helping you port applications from Windows to Linux in a much faster way than you can today, right? So this is really cool feature of Q, which really saves a lot of time, and it's a huge cost saving for the customers. So this is how this feature looks like. I'm not running this video, but we're gonna have a separate demo for this one. Yeah, we're gonna have a separate demo for this one. But this feature really helps in terms of automating the whole refactoring and modernization of your codes. So at Amazon, recently we did this experiment. So we got a team of 5 people within the Amazon. They selected 1,000 Java applications, and actually within 2 days, by leveraging Amazon Q Developer Agent for code transformation, they upgraded these 1,000 Java applications from Java 8 to Java 17, and that is just in 2 days. It took almost like 10 minutes on average to upgrade the application. The longest one took less than 1 hour. And previously, developers could spend like 2 to 3 days upgrading each Java application. And that's why we believe this will be a game changer in freeing up a lot of time for the developers so that they can focus on other creative work for their business. Cool. I'm just looking at time, so yeah, we still have good amount of time. So let's start with the Q demo. I'm going to walk you through with 3 important and specific use cases here for Q Developer. The first one is how you can optimize a Python application. We're going to do a dive deep, and we're going to understand, first of all, we're going to analyze the existing code base. We will try to understand the opportunity to do the optimization of that application, uh, Python application this time. And then we will use Q capabilities in terms of upgrading and optimizing the application over there. And then we will see like how it is saving the cost and the other aspects over there. The second one is another implementation of Amazon Q Developer, where we will see like how we can implement a new API in the same application very quickly and very efficiently with Amazon Q Developer. The third one, like I said, is my favorite one. We will see how we can migrate, how we can refactor the lower version of Java with the latest Java 17. So let's start with the first one. Let me play it, and I will try to explain you like what exactly we are doing. So let's first start with the scenario, right? Uh, Let me hit the play button. Cool. So I'm being given the access to an existing application. It is a voting app for a restaurant, right? And I've been asked to optimize the interaction that this application has with DynamoDB. So in particular, I have been asked to monitor and optimize the application in terms of read and write. So not knowing much about DynamoDB, I asked few things. And then Q suggested me then I keep track of two metrics: consume read capability unit and consume write capability unit. So that's what I did in the previous frame. I could also suggest to do some configuration in CloudWatch. And now within the IDE, if you see the right hand side, I'm asking Q to provide me a description of what this application does and how it works. So it is showing me all the summary. It is giving me all the detail of the restaurant app, and it is also explaining me the interactions with DynamoDB. And next, I'm launching this application and creating some artificial workloads by pointing to an endpoint so that I can solicit an integration with DynamoDB. Next, not knowing much about this application, I'm going to ask you to locate the code where the DynamoDB interaction happens. By looking at the code, Q is able to identify what is the part of this code that is dealing with DynamoDB. And I notice this code is pretty weird, right? Because it increments a counter and it writes a counter back to DynamoDB. I'm asking you if there is a way to optimize these and do any place upgrade instead. And that's the Q response. That is yes, there is a need, there is indeed a way to do this using DynamoDB API called update item. Yep. So I'm going to insert that piece of code into my application code now. And then I'm going to restart my application. I'm going back to the baseline to see what happens now that I have been updating this application. And if you can see this, here now the rate dropped dramatically, right? Basically to zero because of the new APIs. And so I have been able to see the latency and the money by doing this. So this is like a really simple example how we can take the help of Amazon Q developer in terms of first of all analyzing the existing code base, uh, understanding more about the application, understanding the opportunity in terms of doing the right optimization, and finally taking the help of Amazon Q in terms of creating the new features and API controls, and eventually implementing it and optimizing the application. I hope this gave you a good understanding of how we can interact with Q very efficiently and optimize the application. Cool. So let me see. Okay. Cool. So next thing we that I wanna show you is how to use Amazon Q to implement a new API in the same Python application that we just optimized in the previous demo. So here in this next demo, we will see how we can implement a new API, right, to do like certain other things over there. Cool. I'm gonna start this demo. Awesome. So I'm gonna ask you to create a new API at a specific point for the voting population size in this example. And I'm gonna tell Q to source the counter from another DynamoDB table. So Q will provide me with a plan of steps to implement the actual code. Uh, as you can see there, the plan also involves creating a test which is needed. In this case, because I want my application to increase the test, I'm just scrolling it and understanding. The plan seems to be right? So I'm asking Q to generate code for this application. I'm fast forwarding a few steps here because it takes a few minutes to create, but at the end, you will see what it has generated. So there are a number of files that Q has either created or modified over here. This one. And in this case, I'm pointing to my application. And as you can see, there's a function as well. A new route also has been created. And in addition, there is also a unit test that Amazon Q has created for this function. I'm going to accept these changes, which means that these files are being saved on a disk on my local terminal. It is my code with a new function and with a new route. So next, I'm going to deploy this application into my Lambda environment on AWS using the samcli command. Yeah, nice. So I'm going to test. I'm testing this specific endpoint, but I'm getting an error now, right? And I'm not sure why this is happening. I want Amazon Q to help me out and troubleshoot this. So Amazon Q is going to analyze the error and tell me exactly what to do on the IAM role to fix these problems. So if you can see line number 8, it shows me what I have to do the changes. So I will copy this permission, create an inline policy on the IAM, and going to save it with name and go back to the Lambda. The task is now successful because now I have the right set of permissions. So that was the demo of how we can very efficiently and very quickly create a new API within the existing application using Amazon Q Developer. Last thing that I want to show you is how you can use Amazon Q to migrate and upgrade a Java application using the code transformation capability of Amazon Q. Cool. So let me start the demo again. So here I'm in IDE, and this is my Java 8 application that I want to migrate and transform into Java 17 application. I'm pointing to my XML file at the end, and I'm going to ask Q to transform the application. Q is taking the entire application code base, uploading it into a cloud sandbox, running the existing test for Java 8, and eventually it is creating, see, the plan to upgrade the application. So this is the plan where we have these three important steps. The next thing is, the next thing that Q is doing is it's implementing the plan. So once the plan has been implemented, it will return all the existing tests in your Java 17 environment. If everything goes well, you will see the difference. Yep. You can open a model that allows you to pick up a file. And in this case, I'm going to open these Java file and see exactly what Q has done. In addition to in addition to being able to inspect a single file, I have a log of everything that has been transformed. So yeah, here you can see all the logs. The last thing that I'm going to test on my local environment by moving Java 8 to Java 17 runtime that my application compiles and builds correctly. So here I can see all the logs and see it does. And I'm gonna verify this locally. And as you can see, the build is successful, which means I have migrated this application. So that's a very quick, cut short example of uh, how we can use Q for the various use cases in terms of optimizing the applications, in terms of enabling and adding a new feature to the existing application, and also doing the code refactoring with Amazon Q developers. Awesome. So let's go with the core use cases which are aligned well with Amazon Q Developer. To summarize, Amazon Q Developer has a broad range of use cases, but we boiled it down to three key categories. The first use case is retiring technical depths at scale by Amazon Q code transformation capabilities, such as we saw Java transformation. The .NET capability is coming soon over there. So that's the first broad category where Amazon Q aligns well. Then we have utilizing Amazon Q to drive developer productivity. This goes back to the software development lifecycle and helping the developer not just with inline coding uh, completion, but helping address the tedious and time consuming tasks across all the stages with security scanning, troubleshooting, unit test generation, and others. And finally, we have infrastructure provisioning as one of the key use case over there, where Amazon Q is trained to understand and help with major infrastructure as a code language, including our own cloud formation, CDK, and also Terraform. Using Amazon Q knowledge of AWS infrastructure, Q can be a great help for your infra engineers to create and manage templates much faster than before. This is one of the success story with one of our customer, Baltech, where they leveraged Amazon Q capabilities in terms of onboarding the apps over there, and they have got something around 75% of freeing up the value development time for their developer by using the Amazon Q. This is another great story from Novacomp, and they have also realized a 60% decrease in average in their tech debt using the Amazon Q code transformation capabilities. They actually used it and transformed and refactored their Java application to Java 17 with over 1,000 lines of codes. Cool. Call to action. And I'm looking at time. We are exactly on time. So that's awesome. So, call to action for all of you. Get started. You can get started with Q even within your AWS console. You don't have to set up anything. It doesn't need any sort of configurational change. You can simply go to your console and you can access it. Uh, and you can also use VS Code and the other IDs in terms of going and having the AWS toolkit, and you can also install the right plugin, like a Q plugin over there, in terms of accessing and chatting with the Q within your IDE itself. So you can try Amazon Q either on IDE or on console, and there are other avenues as well where you can go and try Amazon Q. So please do that, and also plan your POC. And quite often, I say this to my partners and customers rather than directly jumping into the queue. First, understand your use case, whether you're going to use it for any specific phase of your SDLC, right? Or are you going to do it for any kind of refactoring or transformation? So first understand your use case and then plan your POC. Define a clear scope, create a success criteria, and get started. With that, thank you so much, all of you, for listening me. And back to you, David.
Thank you so much, Lucky. I mean, this has really been an eye opener. I mean, all of the things that we Yeah, so all of the things that we have seen Amazon Q developer being able to do is really mind blowing, right? I mean, these are things that take organizations months in planning alone,
Exactly.
talk less of executing, right? I mean, talking about reducing your technical debt. That's something that I've seen an IT team, a technical business decision maker will take months planning. Okay, how do we do this? First of all, identifying where the technical debt is, and I mean, this is really substantiating the claim that Amazon Q, either business or developer or Q in QuickSight, Q in Connect, can actually improve your efficiency, business efficiency by up to 30%, and it is really great. We currently do not have any questions right now. Um, but I mean, the use cases here, retiring your technical debt at scale, which is really key, driving developer production and improving security and code quality is amazing. So I think I have one question for you, Lucky. How soon can we get our hands on these resources?
Yeah, I'm gonna share like all these resources with you, and I'm gonna share that workshop with you again. You can have a look, and if anyone from the audience and from your customer, if they need access to these workshops, then just shout me. I'm happy
Yeah,
to assist them. I'm happy to set up a workshop for them so that they can go and play the stuff. But it's not stopping them, right? They don't have to wait
yeah,
for me as well. Like I explained in my call to action slide, they can directly go to the Amazon
yeah,
console, right? AWS console, and play around with the queue directly over there. And also, whatever IDE they are using right now, be it VS Code or BrainJet or anything, they can simply go and download like Amazon AWS toolkit over there and get access to the Amazon plugin. So nothing is stopping. Customers can go and do the experiments,
yeah.
but if they need any assistance, if they need any help, then just shout me, and I'll be more than happy to set up the required workshops for any sort of hands-on experience.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, please, you can definitely reach out to Lucky Sharma on LinkedIn. And I'm sure he'll be glad to attend to you when he can. I know he's a really busy man preaching the gospel of artificial intelligence, Gen AI on AWS. So once again, thank you so much, Lucky. We'll be looking forward to these resources and we'll share them with our audience. Either we know a lot of customers like to watch the pre-recorded and post-recordings as well, and we'll definitely be looking forward to having this proof of concepts done in your organizations. I mean, the Amazon Q developer, what the advantage it brings to your maintaining and modernization. You said that's your favorite slide, and
Yep.
I can agree with that because we see a very big deep in terms of when it comes to modernizing
True.
applications. After we see lift and shift happens really quickly, but then when it comes to actually modernizing, like I
Yeah.
said, the time it takes to plan, you know, plan to identify technical debt and to plan and when you look at all of the efforts and all of that, it's like let's just leave it as it is. But having
Exactly.
having Amazon Q coming to help you modernize your applications at scale, that is a game changer, and we'll definitely be pushing this video out to all of our technical decision makers as well. Let them learn one or two things, and give Amazon Q developer a try, and we're sure to improve and increase adoption. within our markets as well. So thank you once again, Lucky. Again, I want to say thank you to Ingram Micro, and thank you, of course, AWS in association with AWS. And I think that we've come to the end of the Amazon Q Advantage webinars. Thank you,
Awesome.
everyone, for
Thank
joining.
you all. Thank you all for making your time. And thank you, David. Have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.